Hey homeschool friends, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another holiday unit study comparison video. Like I said before, I just love deep diving into these types of unit studies. I love bringing more meaning to a certain season, whether it be autumn and Thanksgiving or Christmas time. And so in today's video, I'm going to be focusing on different unit studies that have to do with Christmas, winter holidays around the world, carols and music. I have quite the lineup for today and I'm so excited to share them all with you. I actually have 6 different programs. Some are like Charlotte Mason inspired, some are more classical, some are focused on bringing back kind of more of a simple old-fashioned Christmas. Some are about celebrating all the different winter holidays around the world. So I'm planning on linking them all down below. I will have timestamps for all of them, so please make sure you go check out all 6 of them because they're all really top-notch unit studies that might just be perfect for your family for this Christmas, holiday, winter time season. So hi, my name is Angie. Welcome to the channel if you are new here, or welcome back if you have been coming for a while. Like I said, I have 6 unit study programs that focus on Christmas and the time around Christmas that I want to share with you today. Again, they're all linked down below. I was sent a number of them for free in exchange for my honest opinion, and that is what I'm going to be giving you today. So let me just flip the camera around and I will show you inside all of these programs. Okay, so I think I will start with this one. So this is the Gentle and Classical Christmas. It is put out by Erin Cox. And so what I'm loving about this curriculum is that it's focused on an old-fashioned Christmas experience for families that includes scripture memory, catechism, Advent readings, crafts, living picture books, and more. It's 4 units over 25 days of Christmas season. And so if you read in through her introduction, it talks a lot about her heart for this program, which is really to simplify, to really think about why we have different traditions. And this intro gives a lot of information on kind of what's included, because this is the main curriculum, but there is also a printable download where there's a bundle where you can print off all the different memory cards, you can print off the poetry, you can print off the Christmas carols, things like that. This gives you a breakdown or overview of really the entire program, which is a 4-unit program. I believe it's meant to start after Thanksgiving, that Sunday after Thanksgiving, to kind of follow the Advent calendar. And it has different things like the books, poems, scripture activity, and acts of kindness. And I really liked these, so I'll show you that within the first unit, because that's what I did when I reviewed all the Thanksgiving units, is I took you through kind of week 1 or unit 1 to give you a really good idea of what there is involved. And so here is your books and supply lists. And then she also has a menu for traditions as well as books. I'll kind of flip past that pretty quick because she does so much work in that. But here is Unit 1. And you can see here in Unit 1, it really focuses on Come Let Us Adore Him. And here's some catechism, scripture, the Christmas carol, again, that's found in the appendix or in the bundle, the poem, and the storyboard. In this case, it's An Angel Visits Mary. Also down here is a plan for what kind of scripture you want to read. So you could read the Gospel of Luke, you could read the Jesus Storybook Bible, or they even break down and give you 6 options a week for what you can read with your kids. So I love that. And then it gives you kind of a big picture, shows you the picture books that will be read and that you can get from the library. And down here it talks a bit about how you can connect with your kids via those storylines. So how can you bring those books to life with your kids? And if you wanted to listen to some stuff and pray together. But I really love these acts of kindness here at the end. So every week it has an act of kindness, and it includes these letters to the military first in case you want to participate in amillionthanks.org, because you have to postmark it by December 1st. But it's just a really neat idea for encouraging our servicemen overseas, and our kids can do that, which is just really neat. So I love that. And then here is the craft she has, and I like all her pictures, but I also like her instructions. It's very useful. I feel like I could actually follow this craft fairly easily. And it's cool because it has to do with fruit garland, which you can do a couple different ways. You can kind of follow the book. I believe the book talks about this idea of putting kind of garland on the tree at night, so you can mimic that a little bit. And so it just gives you ideas and options. So that is 1 unit for the Gentle and Classical Christmas. That gives you an idea of what it focuses on, what its main messages are. But it looks like just a beautiful Christmas time unit study. All right, so to move on to a Jan Brett Christmas. So this is by Emily Cook, and it's a Build Your Library unit study. And we've actually done this one. So I have a number of the books, and they're all by Jan Brett. And I'm not sure if you have seen some of her work, but I love her illustrations. I love the Jan Brett books. So when I saw that Build Your Library had a unit study dedicated to just that, I snapped it up. I really, really enjoyed it. We did this last year. Build Your Library is a secular Charlotte Mason curriculum company, and so it doesn't have any scripture or memory work in that sense. So we personally just added that in, but we were able to really enjoy this unit, even though it didn't include that kind of stuff. So let me show you what it does include. So it talks about the fact that it is geared for 4 to 7-year-olds or pre-K to 2nd grade, and it takes about 4 weeks to complete, and it includes 4 different Jan Brett books. It is more easygoing than her main curriculum. It has just a little bit of copy work, but mostly activities and reading these beautiful books. So let me take you to her book list. So these top 4 are the required books. They're all the Jan Brett books, and I have all 4, but I was only able to find 3. But here's the Wild Christmas Reindeer, Who's That Knocking on Christmas Eve, and my kid's favorite, which is Gingerbread Baby. My gosh, this is so much fun. When I pulled this out for the video, my kids got really excited. And so those are the required books. There's some optional books you can kind of deep dive into some of these ideas, but I just printed off the first week. In this case, it is the instructions for Gingerbread Baby, and see, here's the copy work. That's really it. So she takes a much easier approach in December, which I really love. Here's some vocabulary and then activities. She gives a couple different activity ideas, so you can pick and choose what works for your family. We definitely did the gingerbread cookie recipe last year, and we did this one, which we loved. So this wasn't from the Gingerbread Baby, I think it was from the reindeer one, but I just wanted to point it out because we enjoyed this. It talked about the fact that in the Jan Brett book, the reindeer have different names, and so it pulls out those names plus the traditional names, and then has your kids come up with their own names, which is just fun. So this is an example of a Christmas unit study you could pick up that just has amazingly beautiful books. So that is a Jan Brett Christmas. All right, next I want to dive into Campfire Curriculum's Christmas units. They have 2. I believe this one, the Caroline Noel, is new this year, but I'm not totally sure about that. But they're both very beautiful, and they're very similar in intent to kind of the Thanksgiving holiday study, where they're not quite as in-depth as some of their normal units, but they are still pretty meaty, to be honest. And so let me just take you through them because they are quite beautiful, but also have some just amazing messaging and some really thoughtful activities and things like that. So this first one, In the Spirit of Christmas. So to take you through first, there's always kind of a directions page, which is very handy because when you get this curriculum, you will get different PDF downloads, including advanced, growing, early learners, and a core connection PDFs. And advanced being high school, and then growing being kind of your elementary, middle school, and early readers are pre-K and 1st grade. So that helps you see what you'll be using, and I'll show you the difference in some of those here. And then there's also a core connections companion, which has to do with if you want to add science or language arts or even some math. I'll show you that. So it's almost the idea of like, do you want this to be your entire curriculum for your family and do things in a very much family style way, or do you want to take the other direction and do it a little bit looser, maybe include dad, maybe it just be an evening thing? You can do all of those things with Campfire Curriculum, which is definitely a positive in my book. And so in here it'll give you some more information about the 2 different Christmas programs. This is In the Spirit of Christmas, and this is Caroline Noel, and it tells you kind of what to look for, so that some of the blue font is for the more advanced kiddos. And then it will always include kind of an activities list, and here is the table of contents. So it's a 12-lesson program, which you'll see in just a second how they break it up for you, because it does matter a little bit more for the Christmas season than some of their other units, which you can take as long as you want. But here it gives you an idea of flow of taking 3 weeks to work yourself through all 12 lessons, and some suggestions for how to do that. It does make a note that it's working all the way through Luke, so it's Luke 2 through 24 as the scripture. So this is, again, another Christian program. It does make the note that you should read Luke 1 before starting this curriculum, since it starts at Luke 2. but it gives you some sample weeks for how to do this. Okay, and so here's the prologue that is before lesson 1, and it's mostly reading, which actually brings me to a point I want to make about Campfire Curriculum, is that you don't need extra books. All the reading is contained within the program, which can be such an amazing thing for busy parents. But it just depends on your family if you like the physical books, like checking books out from the library, similar to Build Your Library or Gentle and Classical Preschool, where you have to pick up books off the list. All the reading's included. And so this is lesson 1. And again, there's more reading. There's an optional activity. And this talks a bit about weather, tracking the weather. And here's a little graph for doing that. And this is a skip if you want. The following pages are skip if you want, so that's really completely optional. And this is just kind of gauging your kids because it talks about a devotional journal for girls or boys. And then it gets to this part, which is the pause for more reflection. And this is where the difference between the advanced and the growing is evident, at least in lesson 1. I know it's a little bit different as you go through the different lessons, but let me show you kind of the difference here because I think this will help out. Here's the sheet from the advanced PDF, and here's the sheet from the growing. So you can see there's just a little bit less for them to think and ponder and pause and kind of write about here. So I think that is helpful to see. It goes on to talk about a song as well as kind of a suggested Bible reading and saying to this is where you stop for lesson 1. Then it says don't forget to open up your core connections, which is what I printed. But first let me show you what the early readers PDF looks like for lesson 1. Is it does just a little, the parents will say this, we'll recap a little, and then here are the activities for the kids. And so the idea is that the parent is reading like all of these different stories from the growing or advanced, and the littler kids are sitting there and listening, but they have activities. The idea is it might be above their head, but they still want to be involved in kind of what the family is doing. And then here is some core connections for pre-readers. So how to make these next sections more applicable to younger students. It gives you some help there. And then here are the core connections. So if you wanted to make this your full curriculum, this is science, we're going to talk a little physics, and then language arts, a little letter writing, and a little bit of math. And so you'll get that for every week or every lesson. And so that will definitely fill up your time over those 3 weeks where you're doing those 12 lessons. And so I hope that was helpful. I really do love the idea of Campfire Curriculums. I love just the scope with which you could take what you need. Like you could make it a much more toned down program that maybe you do over dinner with dad, or it could be your Christmas school. But let me show you the other Campfire Curriculum, and that's this one. So this is different. I feel like this is a little bit milder, like there's not quite as much going on in this, but it's so different. It's a great curriculum if one, you're really interested in music and the music of the Christmas season, or if maybe you've already done in the season of Christmas from Campfire Curriculum and you want something else. This is an amazing choice. And so it's set up in a very similar fashion. In the case of this one, there is only one growing and advanced PDF. They're kind of combined, and then you have the early reader and you have the core connections. And then here is the schedule, again, 12 lessons. But what's different here is you are getting all the music, like the hymns of the Christmas season. And I think I printed it off. Yes, I did. I'll go back. They have this disclaimers list, which I thought was really helpful and thoughtful. It talks a lot about the history of some of the Christmas songs and the work that the curriculum companies went to try and verify some of the sources and really confirm if it was accurate, try and find primary sources. And if it wasn't accurate or they couldn't nail it down, they wouldn't include it. So I thought that was really cool. And it also talks about the fact that some of these songs that we associate with Christian faith actually were started secular and then went Christian, or maybe they were Christian first and then there's a secular version. So the line is a little bit gray there, which I just thought was really interesting. And so I did decide to print lesson 2 for this instead of lesson 1, only because lesson 1 was a little meatier. It had a lot to do with the history of the hymns, which was really cool. And I was reading through it and I learned a lot. But I thought this was a little bit more representative of the program because it dives into one particular song. And in this case, it's O Holy Night. So lesson 2 is on O Holy Night. And here's the story that you read out to the kids and has notes on the side for if your kids are asking questions or if they need a definition of something. But this is being read out to all the kids, the whole family. And here's the words Again, more information and activity. And then they pulled the faith talk kind of out so it wasn't interwoven like it is in some of their other programs. And then here it is a skip if you want, like some of these optional ideas. So if you wanted to get more into the music, you could do kind of a short little music lesson here. And I thought this was cool. It almost looks like a poster, like an antique poster. And then it gives you the hymn, so the Christmas hymn here with the music. And so that's the end. But one thing I did want to mention is at the beginning, I believe it talks about the fact that there are links on their website that go with each of these lessons that you can click on, and they have linked a number of different videos of versions of all of these psalms. And so it's a really cool resource, so you don't have to go looking for it for yourself, it's just really provided for you. So that is what I printed off for this. I did want to mention that there is a core curriculum companion to this as well. It was very similar to the other one, but it talks a bit more about music, physics, like the waves and different things like that. So there is all of that present in here. So it's very similar in scope to the other Campfire curriculum that I showed you. All right, guys, I'm super excited to share this one with you. And so this is calendar cards for the 25 days of Christmas. So it's really cool. So this is produced by Where'd You Learn That Homeschool. I'll link them below. Rachel from 7 and All does a lot of the work on some of this curriculum, and so it's just really neat. So let me show you it. First, I want to make note of the beautiful artwork on all of these cards. So these are kind of the central cards to the program. When you purchase it, you'll get some printing instructions, because when you print the cards, they're kind of set up double-sided so that you'll have like day 1, which is a Christmas tree, and on the back of the card, if you printed it correctly, will be the information, so you can just read it directly off the card before you put it on the wall. And I like that idea that it's kind of made to be a growing calendar, like you're adding to the calendar every day until you get to 25 days, which is just fun because I feel like a lot of other times you're subtracting instead of growing something. So she has a lot of information, a book list, like kind of how to use the unit, which I really appreciated the fact that there is just kind of a menu of choices. How deep do you want to go? And then there's some extra things like book lists and supply lists. And you'll see when I get to this page is kind of some of those ideas. So for instance, this is December 1st. And the card, I showed you kind of that up here. It's beautiful. So the actual card is color. But here's for the parent guide is this little reading, which is on the back of the card. And then here is a verse. And then it goes through some different things you can do. Like you can focus on some scripture, a psalm, a low prep activity, which I really liked this low prep idea. So it's very friendly to those of us moms who are not very crafty, as well as maybe if you aren't in a climate that has a lot of snow, you don't have to have activities that require that kind of stuff. So it's thoughtful in that way. Some books, or if you're feeling like you want to do extra stuff, she has some ideas. And then I love this, that there's some preschool activities, how to get your younger kiddos involved, because she said that this program is more geared towards about like 5 to 10-year-olds, but this is a way to get your preschoolers kind of in the mix. And it said there was Christmas tree tiles to play a game of memory, which I did print those off. So here they are. So you would print those off and probably have your kids color them, and then they could play memory with that. And then I also printed off December 2nd, and I'll hold that up again. Let me see if it'll focus on the candy cane and the number 2. And then that's what you read, and there's some extra stuff with a preschool activity, and some extras are like, what if you feel like making a recipe of peppermint bark? And you go to the back and they have that recipe there for you. So I feel like it is a very supportive curriculum. I love that it's daily. I love that you have those really beautiful artistic cards, and you can just learn little tidbits of different things as you go to whichever level you want to commit to it. And so this is a really fun option, and I'm glad I got to share it with you. So I have one more. And the program is this. So it's Winter Holidays Around the World. This is another Build Your Library unit study by Emily Cook. And so this is a secular study about the different holidays around the world. And so this doesn't really have an age level to it. It's kind of take what you can get from it. And it can be stretched from like 2 to 5 weeks, just really depending on how busy you are, which I just really appreciate that thoughtfulness. And again, there's an amazing book list, which I'll pop up some of the books on the screen, because I feel like that, again, is one of my favorite things about Build Your Library Curriculum is the book list and the thought she puts into her books. They are very much living books, Charlotte Mason inspired. And so you have the books, and then I'll go through the first holiday for you, because she focuses on winter solstice, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, and Chinese New Year. So winter solstice gives a little reading here. It's like, greetings, my name is Martin. And he says, my family and I celebrate the holiday called the winter solstice. And it goes from there. And it also gives the reading of one of those books. And it says the stories in this book are fairly short, so plan on reading 2 to 3 a day. And here's some copy work and activity ideas and things to talk about. So again, it's fairly light when it comes to the holiday season, this type of unit study. It's heavy on activities, which I love. It gives you lots of different options for what you could potentially pick up or how crafty you feel like being, as well as additional reading. And here's an example of one of the activities that she has kind of in the activity pages. It's a wintertime scavenger hunt. So that's just for the winter solstice, and it has 4 other holidays to focus on. So you could kind of do one holiday a week, or you could talk about them all at once. I feel like this is a really unique curriculum just to expose your kids to all the different things that people believe around the world about this time of year. I just think it's really beautiful. So I'm happy she has this curriculum as well. So to show you one more time all the different programs I have to share with you is the winter holidays around the world, calendar cards for the 25 days of Christmas, in the season of caroling Noel, in the season of Christmas, the Jan Brett Christmas, and gentle and classical Christmas. So with that, I'm going to flip the camera around and end the video. So I hope that was helpful. I hope you were able to find some different programs or different unit studies that you are drawn to, that you feel like would really fit your family or this season of life. They each have a unique feeling and flavor to what it could bring to your homeschool. And so I hope this comparison has been really useful to you and you've been able to find what you need. Let's share down below if there are other unit studies that you guys would recommend for the Christmas season, for this time of year that you want to share with everybody so we can all learn and grow, because I'm sure there are a number of programs I have never heard about. So please comment below and we'll just start a growing list of wonderful Christmas time unit studies. So otherwise, that is what I have for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel. It really does help me out. And otherwise, I will see you guys in the next homeschool video. All right, take care.